How you darn? Welcome to the Sunday edition of the Auto Draft Show, presented by Burger Bar. Use promo code BIGTIMEBURGER with an A for 10% off your next online order. So, Burger Bar, Colchester, 131 Parkway, Colchester, Vermont. Definitely check them out. With me is a legend, as always. Also, one of my men's league teammates, Cooney. How are you?
Good, Sammy. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thanks for coming on. I knew the Parlay Professor, he's off having a good Thanksgiving at home, so couldn't make it for today's show. And I knew you actually DM'd me early in the year, and you're like, I got to get you on. So I always remembered, I'm like, if there's an opportunity, I got to get Cooney on. This kid is definitely a fantasy guru I always look to, and gambling-wise, he's pretty on par. Also, Bitcoin, if you ever want to know more, you can definitely ask him any time of the day. I always see him tweeting. How's your day going, Cooney?
The day's going good. Played a little Turkey Bowl football game, 5-on-5 earlier today, and just been watching college football ever since.
Oh, nice. That's with it. Who usually wins those games?
My team wins every time.
Nice. Yeah, Essex used to do that every year, and this year, obviously, COVID, we couldn't. But how's I saw pictures of your backyard rink. How's that looking?
We got the frame up. We're waiting for it to get cold. We're going to put the plastic down pretty soon. Hopefully, we'll be skating by Christmas.
That'll be sick. I can't wait for that tournament. That's the best one of the year. So I think it's better than the Pond Hockey Classic, but some might say differently. But I haven't seen.
It's not as big, but the ice is better.
Yeah, that's what she said. But I haven't seen you in forever, Cooney. How you been?
I've been good. Trying to get back out on Karen's, but they won't let me.
Yeah, I feel you. I don't really want to mirror. Yeah. This is probably the longest I've ever gone without playing hockey. Almost hitting the year mark. I don't even know if I know how to skate. I've been rollerblading over summer, but I haven't touched a stick. I've just been golfing so much. I love it. It's been amazing. But how's your own fantasy football team looking so far? Week 12. You gonna make playoffs?
My season-long teams have been doing pretty well. I'm gonna make playoffs in 3 out of 4 leagues. Went heavy on Kyler and DeAndre Hopkins this year.
Great pickups.
Just fucking been cruising, you know. Those two guys have just been carrying my squads. I thought it was a pretty easy transition from last year, riding out Lamar Jackson, narrative season for MVP. I was all in on Kyler MVP. This year, tough loss to Seattle is going to make that one hard, but for fantasy-wise, he's been great. Yeah,
he's been stellar. I mean, he's almost outperformed Russell Wilson this year, points-wise, for totals, which has been pretty wild to see.
Yeah, Russ had that hot start, but Kyler can do it against anyone.
I think
their team be putting up 20 points. He's putting up 35 fantasy points. It's crazy.
Seriously, I don't know how you feel, but I feel like Kyler Murray's like the new Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I mean,
baseball guy, same size, same frame, very small. He throws an absolute rocket. So
Kyler, I mean, this kid's here for the long haul.
Yeah.
Lamar, not so much in my opinion, but Kyler, he's deadly accurate. He's got to settle into games a little quicker, but when he's on, there's no one like him.
You get double points for that?
For what?
In your league? For like a Kyler Murray to DeAndre Hopkins connection?
I mean, you get Kyler to DeAndre, you get both touchdowns, so.
That's nice.
Quarterback touchdowns about 4.5, and it's 6 for the 6 or 7 for the wide receiver.
You guys run a PPR?
Half point PPR, 2 quarterback league.
Now, how much is like a buy-in for your league? Because I know you're probably big money. I know you're wheezing right now. What is it, 1K?
I'm in is 0.1 Bitcoin buy-in.
Jesus.
So
who's in that league? You would have a
Bitcoiners.
You would have a Bitcoin buy-in.
Yeah, so we bought. It's actually pretty cool. I recommend this for most fantasy football leagues. If you hold your money in Bitcoin rather than holding it in the dollar, then you buy in. We bought in. Bitcoin was at 9,000 this fall. Now Bitcoin's at 18,000. So
I know.
bought in for $1,000, and now the prize pool is like you paid $2,000, so it's just
How
makes everything a lot better.
you must be loving the growth on Bitcoin. I mean, it's like what, 60% this year?
Yeah, I think it's just getting started. I think after we saw the halving in May, and that now that after that halving happened of the Bitcoin incoming supply, we start to see the supply shock over time, and I think we're just starting to see the effects of that, and especially when, not if, but when the next stimulus comes out and we start printing again, I think Bitcoin is going to blow people's minds. So
I bet a lot of
something
people are
to pay
gonna.
attention to at least.
I know. I almost, I don't know about you, but you almost wait for just like a little drop just to buy more and just watch it just go.
DCA is the only way. Buy every day.
Oh my
Don't worry about
God.
anything else.
Seriously, I
Slowly
love
trade
it.
very well.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as those cruise lines, like Boeing, when that shit dropped, every day I just kept rinse, recycle, repeat. I would just buy in when it drops, wait for the rise, and then I'd just kind of see where the stick charts go, and kind of that's where my point is of for my selling out point of reference, and then every day I would just rinse, recycle, repeat, and I obviously been just throwing it all in Bitcoin ever since you've. I've always been curious about it, and I always obviously there's unbelievable documentaries about Bitcoin on Netflix. I'm sure. Is that how you got into it?
No, not so much. My friend Matt Leonard taught me about cryptocurrency as a whole, and
Now, is this Matt Leonard, the hockey player?
Yeah.
Oh,
He started his own coin actually in 2017, and I was just running around gambling a little on these, we call them shit coins, and then my company actually got hired to make a cryptocurrency documentary for a pop coin out in Las Vegas. We went and did that, and I started to learn about it more. And then my cousin Dylan Leclerc, who you know from hockey as well,
Oh yeah.
is just
He got you into it first?
all about it and kind of showed me why Bitcoin over everything else and why other currencies aren't necessary and the bullish case for Bitcoin. And since then, I've just been studying it every day, and it's
Paying off, that's for sure.
paying off for sure. But
Portnoy.
we'll see, I think.
Portnoy sold
Yeah.
out. That sucks. Tough bounce, but he's doing all
Portnoy's
right.
got the softest opinions.
Yeah, he's doing all right. He just he's got a couple 2-3 million in the bank, so it's probably a fucking earshot whenever he loses money. He doesn't care. But hey, duds of the week though. Did you watch any Thanksgiving games?
Yeah, I watched them both.
Oh yeah. Place any bets? Probably. Knowing you got to. There's no way.
Yeah, I cashed my DraftKings lineup. Could have been better, but I decided to not go with Deshaun. But Deshaun at 65% ownership and still cashing was pretty good. Every other player went absolutely crazy for me.
Yeah.
Just felt like we were playing against a bunch of people in the 2-game slate, and I wanted to make that, get that low ownership, but it didn't work out. Alex Smith didn't get it done.
No, I actually love Alex Smith too. I'm really pulling for him. I mean, I thought he played really well in the game for the Washington Redskins. I mean, he threw about 2 checkdowns to Antonio Gibson for touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean,
36
Gibson
points.
just went crazy.
Yeah, that really fudged me super hard in fantasy, especially in DraftKings this week. I had him on the trigger, and I decided to go with Kenyon Johnson and Adrian Peterson as back-to-back, so I just figured Detroit would just run the ball for the whole time because Matt Stafford and his injuries, but that Adrian Peterson paid off, but nothing. I mean, 36 points, you can't beat that. Matt Ryan, 5.2 points against New Orleans. That's pretty terrible, especially since he had a backup quarterback. And then Baker Mayfield, 7.06 points. Your thoughts, Cooney?
Look, that was an easy fade. I don't know who was trying to play Baker in a slot game. Browns are just going to hand the ball off to their 2 power running backs and get the job done like they did. I mean, that game was wet, sloppy, and there was no need to run the ball. You knew they were going to have a lead. You knew they were going to be airing it out. There's no surprise there. Who was your other one?
So Baker Mayfield, and then I have Jerry Jeudy Wide receiver, Denver Broncos, 6.7 points last week.
I had Judy in the 4 p.m. slate last week, and that killed me. I figured I was all over him.
I love him. I think he's a stud. I think he needs help bad.
His route running is insane.
Yeah, he's unbelievably fast. Afterburners. Now, are you only Cleveland Browns fan? Solo?
Yes.
No other teams?
Yeah.
All right, I respect
Brownies,
that.
baby.
I know. I've given you so much shit over the years, but you're the only one that's actually stayed true. You and this kid Ian Moldovan from way back when, probably the only two kids I know that have stayed true to their word with the Browns. And
it's been a rough life. They've made playoffs once in my lifetime, as in 2002, and we lost a 20-point lead at halftime to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, that's tough.
Hoping this is the change. Stefanski has this team looking like winners for the first time in a long time.
I love it, and I feel bad for Odell sitting on the bench, but I almost think it's better for the team. What do you think? You think it's better just having Jarvis as the number one?
Yeah, I don't agree totally with Browns are better without OBJ, but I think the team's just picking it up on all aspects, and Baker just was trying to forcing the ball a little too much, but I think that would have played out well over the course of the year. I think if OBJ decides to stay in Cleveland, he'll be good for a long time, but right now it's our run game and our run game only, and our turnover defense. Just getting turnovers and scores left and right, so hopefully that continues.
Absolutely. You got two Pro Bowl running backs. If I was Baker, I would just ground and pound all day, wear out the defense, and then just start throwing the ball over the top.
And then bootleg outside.
Yeah.
To Jarvis.
He's fast too. I think people forget he's so fucking agile.
Don't sleep on Rashad Higgins. Everyone doesn't even know who he is, but the dude can play some football. He's getting some targets now. So hopefully we've had bad weather games for 4 weeks in a row, but I think Rashad's gonna show up. So.
Don't sleep on Denzel Ward. I sneaky think he's one of the best cornerbacks in the game. I think he's like a number 2 behind like Steph Gilmore. Even though he hasn't really done a whole lot this year, he's kind of gotten burned. So I do like Denzel Ward a lot. I think he's gonna have he's so young, and that defense is scary. You guys
Ward's just showing his potential now, and I'm loving it. He's just all over anyone you put on.
Oh, he's a ball hawk. He's a ball hawk. But all right, week 12. This is one of my favorite segments. Starter sit. Cooney, I'm gonna give you a couple tough scenarios of some matchups from week 12. I'm gonna start out with Buffalo Bills versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Josh Allen versus Justin Herbert. Starter sit.
I'm sitting both of them.
You gotta pick one. You gotta pick one or the other.
I'm going Justin.
But you can
Herbert.
tell why you wouldn't want to play him first.
I'd go with Justin Herbert over Josh Allen. I think the Bills are going to get out to a lead, and the Chargers are going to be trying to sling the ball. I think Buffalo is one of these stacks that's going to have way too high ownership this week, and I think it's just a good spot to fade them against a team that is going to be up and running. And I think Herbert could get the job done. Obviously, he's a gunslinger, and I just don't think it's the right play. I don't think either one's the right play. I think you can find better spots this week.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't like this matchup, but if you had to pick starter set, I think Justin Herbert. He's a gunslinger. He's starting to prove it too as a rookie. He's got like 400 yards almost like a game. He just throws it, and that poor team still keeps finding a way to lose. But I think Josh Allen's probably just going to run the ball, and they're going to try and keep Herbert off the field. I do think Herbert torches that Buffalo defense because I just don't think they're as good as people say. Josh Norman is a liability out there getting picked on all game, which is kind of sad to see because I loved him growing up. But all right, game number 2, Indianapolis Colts versus Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry versus Jonathan Taylor. Who do you got?
Well, Jonathan Taylor isn't playing, so I'm going to go with Derrick Henry.
That's an easy one. I mean,
I'm all
Hines?
Naheem Hines.
Yeah, Hines or Derrick Henry? Who would you do?
From a purely scoring standpoint, it's Derrick Henry, but I have Naheem Hines in my lineup and not Henry. He's a great value play at 4,500, and I think he is going to have a big game.
Yeah.
Catching the ball, he's going to PPR on DK. He's going to catch a lot of passes. He should get in the end zone once or twice. I think he's a great player.
Phillip Rivers is the check down champ. And that's,
he is a bum, is what he is.
Oh my God! It's just that it looks like he's throwing a medicine ball out there. It's so it's just tough to watch because he cannot throw it that far, and it takes so long for him to wind it up too. It's kind of like Cam's throwing motion where he just winds it up from back here. Kind of looks like Tim Tebow when he throws the ball, and he is the check down king. That's why I love when I had Jonathan Taylor on my fantasy team. He'd just get those 5 yards and then he'd run for an extra 10. But
Taylor was a bust this year, but Naheem Hines seems to be bringing some energy, so I'm rolling with it.
Yeah, but if I had to go straight up in fantasy, I think Derrick Henry. I just think the blueprint's out on that team. Just run the ball, and no one can tackle this linebacker who runs like a gazelle. It's just impossible. All right, next game: Carolina Panthers versus Minnesota Vikings. Robbie Anderson or Justin Jefferson? Who do you got?
I got Robbie Anderson. He's also in my lineup. He has been missing a lot of productivity over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and I think Robbie Anderson is going to just have a big comeback game. He's been getting the targets, he's been having the opportunities, but Samuel and Moore have been producing. I think this is a good pivot right now to Anderson, who's primed to have a big day against the Minnesota D who gives up the long ball. So I'm going to roll with Anderson. He's not too high owned. I think everyone's kind of mixing in Anderson, Samuel, and Moore a little bit, but no one's over 10% projection, so I'm going to roll with Anderson. I think Jefferson, people are kind of expecting that, as this is a Jefferson game after Thielen game. They've been going back and forth a little bit, but I like Thielen over Jefferson this week as well, so I'm going to go with Anderson.
I think Justin Jefferson is the poor man Stephon Diggs. Makes sense, obviously. You're going to leave Stephon Diggs to go to Buffalo. You're going to fill his void. Justin Jefferson, so being drafted that high, obviously they have a lot of promise on the kid. And it's been paying off. He's had a pretty good year. I'm going to ride him for this. I just think he's a rookie. You just got to go with got to ride the heat wave. I think he's just been playing out of his mind. I just don't really see a Carolina defense stopping him, but I do see Carolina winning this game. I just think that I love Matt Rule. I love Teddy Bridgewater. I love everything that they're doing down there. And Minnesota's kind of falling apart. I mean, it's surprising they got the same record as the Pats. You never hear that these days, but both teams have been struggling this year. So I just think Carolina's got it all put together. I wish they had Christian McCaffrey because it would really seal the deal for me.
Yeah, I love Teddy Bridgewater, man. Dude gives it all his all, and he's had a tough career. I think he deserves some success. So.
Oh, the guy deserves one bounce in his life. I mean, he's had a long road. But, all right, here's a nice little tight end matchup. Raiders versus Atlanta. Darren Waller versus Hayden Hurst.
I'm all in on Darren Waller this week. I think he is the best play by far at tight end. I think bet every prop over receptions, over receiving yards, touchdown to score, whatever you want to do, longest reception. I think he's going to have a monster game.
Yep. Yeah, I love his story. I love the comeback that he's had. He's proven it. And Atlanta's
Big Waller, the baller fan.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love everything about him. Hard Knocks really made me fall in love with him. And Atlanta is terrible on defense. And they let up the most points to tight ends. So I think it's a no-brainer, easy play, and I'm really pulling for the guy. And I love Coach Gruden is a gem too. I've really fallen in love with him. Those Corona commercials kill me. I went as Coach Gruden for Halloween 2 years ago, so guy's got a big place in my heart. Let's take a look at our Week 12 matchups for DraftKings. Big celebrity guest picking on par for today. Cooney, a lot of hype behind this lineup. I'm really liking what I see. A couple question marks, of course. No, I'm just kidding. It looks like we have a lot of the same lineup. I wish I could get Darren Waller. Unfortunately, he was too much for what I had left in the bank. So I went with a very cheap, poor man's Darren Waller, Mike Cunavelis for Miami Dolphins. I just think Fitzmagic is going to find him, probably through some double coverage, of course, right in the back of the end zone. Mark it, book it. You heard it first. Fitzmagic, Mike Cunavelis, they'll connect for a touchdown in the back of the end zone at some point today. Everyone's favorite, the Parlay Professors, Week 12 picks. Even though he's away for Thanksgiving, the kid's still putting in work for you guys. So appreciate this list. The kid's electric. And I'm really liking that Patriots +2, especially going up against the Cardinals today. Very worried.